Thanks, Vivian. What a great pleasure it is to be here. And talk about tough acts to follow. Those two dynamic, amazing women. However, none of us got to where we are, without putting our foot in it sometime or other. So I'm going to invoke quite a serious quote. And this is actually something of a theme that will run through, and I'll explain why as I go along. And the quote is this, that the last shall be first. And as the last speaker today, we will see who says women are not competitive. The first and the last, I think right at the beginning, we heard about not falling into the polarities, not doing last, first, yes, no, men, women, etc., but looking at the space in between. And the work that I do, working in the performing arts, for which I am grateful every day. I get up in the morning and I think, I get to do this. And this is the greatest blessing that I would wish on every one of you, that if you can do this, then not only will you live a life of purpose, make a difference, you will lead happy lives. And the work is hard, and every job comes with stuff that you really would rather not do, but the whole thing in its totality is worthwhile. And I think this seeing whole is also something that women are very good at doing. So the space in between and the first and the last. The arts are often seen as fringe. Vivian, who is so great at so many things, says she's not an artist but a great audience. And I'll tell you how important great audiences are. What I do is the performing arts. And the performing arts really is a conversation between the people who are on stage and the people who are sitting there. Something like what we're doing, except that one is perhaps on the surface at least, and this is where we go back to those polarities, okay? What it seems and what the oppositions are not. It seems as though one person is doing all the work. It seems as though the person on stage is the one, running up and down, talking, doing the speeches, dancing, singing, playing instruments, whatever. But actually, both parties are equally necessary, and both parties are equally participating and dynamic, and for this engagement to happen. This is the space in between where those conversations can happen. I'll give you two examples. I've sat through, far more performances than I've had hot meals in my life, okay? Some of them you come out of and you think, okay, I've done it now, I know what that's all about. Others, you're so thrilled and delighted that you want to go forward and you want to see what you can do with the artist or the work, etc. But two of the most memorable for me, they're not first, but they're memorable, were occasions where the importance of this dialogue, of this communication, was brought home to me so clearly. One was actually not in Hong Kong. This was in Singapore where I was working at the time, and we launched an international piano festival. A very famous and very excellent pianist came to this festival that we were doing, and he shall remain nameless because the story is not a pretty one. This is a very busy artist. He's been flying from city to city. I think he was in the midst of a 5-city tour, so he was getting off the plane, playing a concert, getting on another plane, playing another concert in another town. So possibly he was tired. Certainly he wanted to catch up with his emails and his, communications. Thirdly, I don't like to think this, but I think there was a little bit of the idea that this wasn't perhaps the most important concert in his career. He was playing in some place that he didn't know these people. Was he going to come back? Don't know. Were there really, really, really important critics in the audience? Probably not, So I kind of knew we were in trouble when he arrived in the concert hall, and I said, hello, maestro, the piano tuner is waiting for you. Would you like to check the instrument, see whether you're happy with it, everything's in tune, the touch is what you would like, etc. And he said, I'm sure the piano's fine. And where can I get some cables? My computer, I want to check my messages. And I was thinking, okay, where are our priorities? But never mind, the messages may be important. There might be stuff going on in his life. So, we did all that. And again, half an hour later, I said, Maestro, would you like to check the piano? He went on stage. He did, a couple of things. And he said, it's fine. And so the concert began. When he came on, there was the most terrific applause because we were anticipating quite a mind-blowing, life-changing kind of fantastic performance. This guy has a good reputation, and we know his work. We know his recordings. We know what he's done and what he's capable of. So he came on, and he played. And he did that. He played all the notes. Everything was there. Nothing major. But nothing was happening. There was the music, the soul of it was missing. And this now is what's really important in this part of the story. You could hear the question mark being generated in the audience. You could hear 943 people, because we have 943 seats in that concert hall. 943 people going, huh? And to his credit, and that's why he's a very great artist, he got it. That, he's playing notes, these people are going, he got it. After the first piece, he focused, got his energy together, got his attention together, and gave the concert that he was capable of giving. And when he left after the first piece, the applause was kind of like puzzled. It was like, okay, what's happening? But after he got himself together and focused, the applause was deafening. So that's one side, okay? This is one of those memorable concerts. The other one was much more recent. It's in Hong Kong. And she remains nameless simply because I haven't asked for her permission to name her, so I'm not sure that I should. But she's one of the world's greatest mezzo-sopranos, making her Hong Kong debut in the festival. We've waited so long for her to come to Hong Kong. She's been... her schedule's been impossible. She's taken the directorship of another arts festival, so it was just hard to get the date. Finally, she was going to be here. When she arrived, she was very reserved. We asked whether she wanted to sign autographs afterwards because we knew there'd be queues, and she said, no, maybe not. So I thought, okay, she's just very reserved, and she wants, her own time to herself, and we just let her do the concert and leave things as they are. All of this happened, and she was consistently like this until the first concert. Into the first half of the first concert, you could see her opening up like a flower in warm rain. She went on, very professional, all there. I mean, this is an artist that I would respect so much because she gives it all. It's on the line. But what she got was an audience that were expecting her, anticipating her, knew her work, knew her repertoire, knew what she was capable of. And there was that really amazing communication going on in the hall. At the end of the concert, people said, my God, she's better live than in her recordings. This is even better than when she is already perfect. And it's better than when she's already perfect because there's this communication going. After that concert, she said no autographs, right? So we arranged no autographs. But there are always a few people lurking backstage. And if you go to concerts often enough, you know where the stage doors are. After the concert, she stuck her head out and she said, oh, not that many people. We were all ready to hustle her into the car, get her out of there, if that's what she wanted to do. She stuck her head out and said, not that many, maybe 20 people. She spent 40 minutes signing autographs, chatting, taking pictures with them, her fans going, this kind of thing. They had the greatest time, and then she became the most relaxed, the warmest, fun person. And the next day, when she came to the concert hall for the second performance, she trooped in like, la, 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 I'm going to have a good time tonight. Actually, she said that. I'm going to have a good time tonight. So this is the amount of two-way communication that's in every performance. That's in every person there has as much responsibility we want, as well as power. Okay, so now that's the communication. I need to get back to the first and the last. I truly believe, and I don't think I'm contradicting, Vivica or Jennifer. I truly believe that there are very few completely original, new, never thought of in any way ideas that spring fully formed into existence. I think the current word is probably convergence. It's things coming together. It's things coming together in new ways. And so everybody who achieves a first is probably the last in a particular series of thoughts and ideas and movements and manifestations of those ideas and movements. I think, therefore, that anybody who makes a first, whether it is the first of the class, first of the type, or first of that we recognize as the first, really owes an enormous debt to what has come before. And in performance, in the arts, even when we talk about breakthrough, when we talk about creativity, when we talk about doing new things, I think the consciousness of what has gone before is really, really important. I mean, even when you're doing a breakthrough, what do you break? There has to be something for you to break through. So we owe what has gone on before. And I think this is critical. To come back to that communication and that piano recital and this amazing mezzo-soprano, for that communication to have happened, it needed for the audience in that piano recital to have layers and layers and layers and layers of prior knowledge, of previous experience of the music that they were hearing for this moment to have happened. For that wonderful experience for the mezzo also, the audience as well as the performer had to have this vast wealth of experience. And this is where I get to the point about first. And this is something that I feel very strongly about, especially in my area, but I think it has application in other areas as well. All of us who work in the arts need to bring or feel the need to bring new audiences. So outreach, community work, education, new audience, all of this, we all do this. How we do this is so important. A lot of times, people just get, busloads of kids in to listen to a concert, watch a play, and then they go away. And I think when we organize first encounters of this sort, it's so important to understand the layers that needed to be in place for that encounter to spark, for that to be magical. So to have, if there is no common ground, if there's no common knowledge, if there's no basis, then to plant somebody into a completely alien environment in a language that they don't know. It's the language of music, it's the language of painting, it's the language of whatever. It is a very tough call. It's a very tough thing to be able to do. So I think in all of our encounters, that mindfulness of what has gone on before, so that when we deal with younger people, when we deal with people that we talk to, when we deal with sometimes just when we talk to each other, to be mindful of what has gone on before in their lives, to find those meeting points. Because I think conversations, to be able to touch and make sense of each other is so important. But those first conversations are the last conversation that you will have in your lifetime of that moment. And this is the last conversation of a whole bunch of experiences. So this thing of first and last, of the first always building on what has gone before. And it is merely the last. And the last, therefore, becomes the first, hopefully, of a series of other conversations and new conversations. Just as in the same way that I hope that this last speaker of the first TEDx in Hong Kong will be the start of many, many more wonderful conversations to come. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.